What's going on? It's your boy Kuya P. This is the NRW, where nerds rule the world, back again for another amazing interview, y'all. Today, I'm talking to another fellow actor who's been killing it this past year on Children Ruin Everything up there in the great North Canada as John Luke. He also can be seen as Mai in The Holiday Swap. He did a short film called A Briefcase as Dennis. You know him as Yoshi in Wedding Season, that I believe was over on Netflix. And yeah, you've also seen Bakugan Battle Planet. I know all my anime heads love anime. You've seen him as Chet in Ghost, switching over real quick. But then he's also, what was it? It was, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. Hero Elementary. He was on Kim's Convenience, What We Do in the Shadows, Ollie's Pack. I think that was a spinoff of like Phineas and Ferb, if I'm not mistaken, but he'll let me know. My daughter keeps me into the anime stuff, so I'm learning. Paw Patrol, that's what I was looking for. And I know he has an upcoming Paw Patrol, I think, show or series coming up in the new year as well. Super Rescue, that's it. We'll talk all the things. I'm super excited. You all know how I love my fellow acting brethren, learning how we just do this struggle that we should just give up on, because 95% of the time we get no's, but yet we still get up in the morning to fight the good fight, to fight for representation, and fight to just be ourselves and just express ourselves on screen. Let me bring him up on the screen. Let me stop talking. You don't want to see me. You want to see Julius Cho. There he is. Julius, I'm shooting off air horns right now. You can't hear it. It'll be in post because I know you need to have those ears, so I'm not going to deafen you right now.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks for having me, Kuya. This is awesome, bro. Like, I don't think I've gotten to do a podcast about being diverse and being Asian for a long, long time. So thank you, man.
Oh, definitely, man. We got to, because we're few and far between. You know, it's been a struggle for me personally, and we'll dive into that. Yeah, because it's been a journey, and I think when we see each other, like right now, it's a shared journey. We know what we went through to get here, and to keep fighting, to keep the faith. Exactly. So we have to be each other's support system. And if I could be that for you, my friend, let's do that.
Yeah, man.
Because I know the journey well. It's been a long time. I'm an old guy. The fish and rice, that melanin that that we luckily have as Asian people, keep us looking young. Yeah. Even though I'm in my 40s, late 40s.
No.
Right?
No,
Yeah.
you do. No. What?
But that's that fish and rice that keeps us looking young, my friend.
That's true.
And you're only as young as you feel, or only as old as you feel, or whatever. I just live life. Live life to the fullest. I be my authentic self, and I think that's what keeps the grays and the sags and everything else away, brother.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, thanks for having me.
I love it, my friend. Thank you for the compliment, because you did say I look young. That's good. That's good vibes. That's good energy that I need.
Good.
Julius, so tell me, let's go way back. I like to start from the beginning and go along this journey, because I think the best interviews and what I love when I see and hear other people online is knowing that at the same time maybe I did that along my path, and why I might have not won at that moment, there's going to be another win down the road. There's as actors, there's a lot of losses before you get those wins. So I'm curious about the journey you went through, but I want to take it to the beginning and just how it all started. Like, born and raised, where are you from? Tell me all of that.
Sure. So my family's from Hong Kong originally. So I am the only person in my family that was born in Canada. My dad loved watching movies all the time. So like I grew up just watching all this pop culture, like maybe a bit too young to watch some of these things, but like Clockwork Orange when you're 10, you're like, oh, okay. And he like really wanted me to watch Bicycle Thief. And I was like, okay, that's a traumatic thing. But that kind of influenced me to always kind of see the arts or love the performance of it. And the big thing about being a little Chinese kid was, there's not a lot of Chinese actors speaking English, or a lot of the big network things were kind of in the background, where the doctors were, henchmen or something. So it kind of always kept, I don't know, like a silent dialogue in me that, we're not visible. But there's also something in me, I think, that you feel is like, why not? Why aren't we kind of in the forefront? And yeah, I a class clown. I loved entertaining. I loved when people smiled and laughed. And, just in high school, I loved doing drama. I loved acting. And my drama teacher was like, well, why not pursue it? And I was like, okay, well, let's see how this goes. My parents were freaking out, but like I want to say like maybe 10 years later now, or 10 or 12 years later, my parents are now looking at me, especially with this year that I've had, and been like, oh, this is a real career. Oh, okay. Well,
it takes them that long too, right?
It does. It's still unsure, but they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It'll never, man. No. I could talk here. You two. I could talk for hours on that.
Please. I love that, man.
let me go, staying in that like early pocket.
Yeah.
Prior to high school, like what were you into maybe? And then what were those films that inspired you?
Yeah.
When, later on, like you said, when you got into drama in like high school, but
yeah,
I'm curious, like I want to go like in stages.
Sure.
So, like,
yeah. No, please. Yeah. Sorry if I
middle. I'm not sure what it is in Canada. If you have like elementary, middle, how it.
Yeah, we've got those. Yeah. Yeah.
So what were you like into? What like hobbies? And then all of a sudden I see like Star Wars or something. What was it that like, okay, I'm going to not play baseball in the yard or football. I'm going to put up the basketball, like what were some of those things that you're into? And then, oh my God, the cinema, how amazing this is. I want to do this or anything like that. If it was that.
I think for sure, because I'm a voice actor, it was Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back. That was like one of the big films for me because I don't think I'm spoiling anything, but the part where Ash turns into stone and Pikachu's crying over this the potentially deceased protagonist, I was weeping along with every other kid who watched that scene, and I think it really stuck with me of like, wow, this is like powerful stuff. Like this is a fictional animal that isn't even speaking words. And it's making me feel something that like I'm there. I know what that is. I feel that. I loved Digimon as a kid. That was something I loved. My favorite hobbies were like collecting Digimon cards. And then, Yu-Gi-Oh came along. So I'm a big anime nerd. So like, the Dragon Balls. Man, I like grew up with a bunch of anime. And yeah, movies like The Dark Knight when I was a kid, that was unreal. That was amazing. But then watching some classics like 8.5 or oh my goodness, why am I blanking out on great ones?
It's all good. I put you on the spot a little bit, my friend.
You ever hear of a movie called Wings of Desire? Yeah.
Makes me want to Google it. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna look to the side real quick. Wings of Desire. It sounds familiar. 1987.
Mm-hmm. That's the one.
Who's in this? Let's see here. Bruno Gonzo. It looks like it was like an international film.
Yeah, it's a German film about angels and stuff like that. And it's
interesting.
Like, yeah, it was I had a cool childhood to just watch these movies that aren't your classic, I guess, action movies or whatever we used to watch in like, early 90s. And it was this thing of knowing that we kind of elevate this art. Even as a kid, this had such like a big influence on me. And I think that's why a lot of other kids thought I was weird, because I was just this weirdo who like, I don't know, just wanted to play other characters and stuff. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Well, welcome to the Weirdos, man. We're all
man. Thanks.
I love it. I like feel it. And I'm actually going to check that out. I brought it up on the other side. Yeah. I like hearing these things because as creatives, you want to inspire that creativity again. How long has it been, do you think, since you've seen Wings of Desire?
Oh man, definitely over a decade for sure.
So maybe you should check it out.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. It might be bad now.
I try to do that, especially when I hit like a block.
Mm-hmm.
Spark that joy again.
That's great. Yeah.
Definitely. Highly recommend, y'all. Pro tips from your boys. Awesome. So Wings of Desire, collecting Yu-Gi-Oh! Digimon cards. And then, so that's a little bit of your childhood. Is that what would your parents tell me about a young Julius?
They'd be very
in that time
worried.
Period, right before high school.
My parents would be very worried for sure. It was a chubby Asian son who would do nothing but watch anime, not really do a lot of homework unless it was drama. And they were like, "Oh my goodness, he doesn't have a future. We have no idea Well, yes, because as classic Asian families, if you're not a doctor, an accountant, or someone who makes a lot of money, we don't know what to do with you. So they were pretty worried, but they just kind of went along with it, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna return to that because I
Yeah, let's
completely
do it.
relate
Yeah.
that with that. As you know, as a fellow Asian,
Yeah.
I was gonna say Asian American, but you're in Canada, so but
And
I
we're just
totally
fellow
relate
Asians,
with that
right?
as a
Yeah.
fellow Asian.
Yeah.
Um, well, did you have anybody in your family that pursued the arts at all?
So
Do you know offhand, like that you could maybe even throw to them and be like, "Hey,
yeah.
mom, dad, that family member did this." I'm curious as well of that aspect.
Um, so the funny thing is my dad's an interior designer. So that counts
Wow.
as the arts, right? But in a
Yeah.
in a cool way, it's still like a logical arts, if you know what I mean, like a sensible arts for an Asian person. So they he was kind of the main source of the guy who was like, yeah, I get it. Like, you're a creative. You got to pursue this. You got to see where it goes. So I was very appreciative of like the things because he did show me so many movies, like a lot of Ang Lee movies growing up, which was great. And yeah, he was kind of he was kind of the guy on the fence, where he's like, "You got this, but also have a backup plan, or
Okay.
you can go for this, but only because your sister's a doctor. I just need you to know this kind of stuff."
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. You didn't have the struggle where a lot of others had, like both
yeah,
of them being like very that there was somewhat of a, like you said,
yeah, yeah.
an eye for that.
It was, yeah. It was different too because it was like acting is, I think, the most extreme thing because in their minds it was like unless you're in the 1%, you're
Mm,
not gonna succeed. You're gonna fail.
yeah.
And they would try their hardest to support me, but it's always like when you see someone trying their best to help but not knowing the exact way this person needs the help. You know what I mean? It was an interesting situation. Yeah.
Agreed. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we'll touch a little bit more when we get into high
Yeah.
school in just a second. But what I would like to touch on again, I love to also the I'm a proud Asian American. I'm curious, like you said earlier, you were the first to be born in Canada, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious that immigrant experience and with the family, how that affected you as a child, if you felt or experienced anything, because I know as an actor, as well, we pull from life, and I'm
Yeah.
curious what those life experiences were. If you experienced anything
Yeah.
between being born there and then getting into the high school, which we'll get into in just a
Yeah.
second.
Yeah. I feel like the biggest thing was being in touch with my emotions and being like open to talk about things or be able to just say like, oh, this doesn't feel okay. Because I think the immigrant mentality has always been, provide for the family and protect the family. And vulnerability is not a word we associate with that at all.
Yeah. And as
So
men, they don't want us to show it.
oh God, no. Yeah. I was my parents were very worried about me because they were seeing this kid who would cry a lot and would be like open to his emotions. Um, yeah, I think one of the biggest lessons was my parents kind of gave me trust issues a bit of the immigrant mentality is like the strangers are everywhere, they might like pick you up and steal you and things. So like me as a
Yep.
kid trying to process this while being vulnerable was like a fun, I guess let's call it a roller coaster of just situations of just me following immigrant role models while living in a much different world than they've lived in. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Man, yeah, exactly.
I don't know if that answered your question. I
Oh,
feel
no,
like
no, no. It's great insight. Uh, were there anything that they experienced that you had to in turn help them in a different way?
yeah, I think a lot of times where my dad worked so hard to provide for my family. And I remember as a kid, he drove one time and he was really tired and I think he was at his limit. And he said, he's like, oh God's just like testing me. God's just testing me right now. I can't fail. I can't fail. And I just kind of maybe my me being born here, I was like, "Hey, Dad, do you think God's not testing you? God's just watching and just seeing what you do and like experience this life." And he just kind of stopped and he was like, "What the hell? Like you're like 5. What?" Like he just kind of his mind was blown at this idea that maybe it's not a gauntlet, it's not a test, it's a journey. And I think that might have stuck with him ever since. It's been really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel that. That's beautiful. That is
Thanks.
absolutely beautiful. Okay, so we're on our journey of life. You're
Sure, yeah.
experiencing it for yourselves. You're learning the ways of the world that you'll take into your experiences and hopefully manifest those into roles later on down the road. You're assisting
Maybe.
your parents with life. I think that's all part of our journey and very important. But then high school hits you in the ass and really wakes you up, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, the playtime is over.
Hmm.
Tell me about that part of your life and journey. And from what you said earlier, then you got interest in drama, and that's kind of like where you like the acting like really kind of picked up a little bit, or at
Yeah.
least started to then in a more professional way. And then we'll get into graduation in next bit. But
Yeah.
tell me about high school Julius Cho.
Well, high school me was a dork trying to be a character, trying to make people laugh all the time. You must have felt this where I like you ever been in a situation where you see somebody doing something you really want to do and you're like, I could do that better. Like, come on, let me try that. I think
Yeah.
I got a hand at it. That was me in high school where I think I was the spotlighter for the school's musical, which was like Oklahoma. And I just remember I had this like massive light cannon just following these actors do the scenes, and all I could think of was like, man, I want to do that. I want to show off. I want to entertain. And then from then on, I just like kept doing the school plays and just never looked back. And a lot of people looked at me kind of funny because this was a non-drama school, but
Mm,
I just kept being the class clown and kept kind of committing that this is just the thing I really enjoy doing.
awesome.
Yeah.
You went for it.
I did.
Let's go. Let's
Yeah.
go. Were you throwing it back to the Asian
Yeah.
aspect of our lives, right? Where what was that like as an experience there? Were you one of many or were you one of few?
I was it was both because I was one of many, but I
Okay.
was never in, the labs. I was never in the study halls. I was in the drama room. So I was one of the few
Uh-huh.
in the drama class. And so I was kind of seen as I guess an outsider on both sides because
Yeah.
like I guess I don't really have a lot of Asian high school friends that kind
Mm.
of understood what the heck I was doing and still
Hmm.
kind of look at me like maybe now they understand, but before they
Yeah.
were like, "What are you doing?" And then in the drama class, I'd be the only Asian guy with like a different mindset. So yeah, it was it was actually kind of nice to say the least. There's
So it's
something
been
about yeah, sorry.
oh no, no worries. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no,
I
no.
was just curious how like that affected your experience, and how you
Yeah.
channeled that in certain ways. And so from what I just gathered, it benefited you.
Yeah, because I think we as actors are always inherently outsiders of some sort, or we have a perspective of life that's a little different. Um, I think it built me up an armor, or it helped feed a passion or a fire in me that was like, yeah, I know I'm different. Yeah, there's maybe a bit of shame that comes from being an Asian dude or something, but I kind of really want to keep doing this. I don't know why, but I'll just kind of shrug and keep going, I guess.
All right. I
Yeah.
feel that. There's awesome. Okay. So I think with that again we become able to be more outward and what's the
Yeah.
word extrovert, right?
Yep. That's the word.
And
Yeah.
so that helped you through high school and everything you had planned,
I
at
think
least
so.
during that time period, right?
Yeah. I think drama class especially really kept me afloat because nothing
Awesome.
else really drew me, I have to say. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We know the name of the drama teacher we want to shout out in case she
Oh, yes,
checks out this
please.
interview with Julius?
She's not gonna check it out, but her name is Kate Greenway. She is an amazing person. I just bought one of her paintings recently. She's an amazing artist as well. Yeah, she's the kindest person. I even when I came in feeling like an outsider, she always welcomed me and was always like, try acting. And she was the only person actually that offered that. My parents never had suggested that. And from that point, I'm always indebted to her. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I love to give shout outs where we can
Yeah,
and
man.
to those people that helped pave our way and helped us see that it could be a reality. So that's
Yeah.
lovely. That's beautiful. Shout out to you, Kate Greenway. We're gonna make you see this. I'll send you a link or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah, we
find
will.
you. I'll find you.
I'll
Um
send it to her.
so she helped pave that. She showed you the yellow brick road to
Yeah.
Oz.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to graduate.
Let's go.
Parents, this is the signature question I have on Show Pal Show, my Filipino podcast where I spotlight Filipinos in the industry of various industries. And as you said earlier, it's echoes throughout all the Asian cultures. When we graduate, arts is cool, elementary, middle school, high school, but it's not generally in most cases, from my experience in most people I know. So that's where I'm taking this from, because I don't want to put it blanketly, out there. But history shows certain things dictate it. We can do the arts, but it isn't where they want us to go when we graduate. They'd rather us be an engineer, lawyer, doctor. That's across the board, I believe. So you're getting ready to graduate, but the amazing Karen Greenway says, Julius Cho, you can act. Tell me about that decision, whether or not going to university, how that path was laid for you, and maybe that discussion with the parents, if it was known at that time when you're graduating that's what you wanted to do. Take me to that pocket.
Yeah, sure. So when I was like figuring out what I wanted to do for university, and then Kate was like, why not acting? I had told my parents, I'm like, you know what? Let me try some acting programs. And they said yes, they were down with it, but I could feel that there was like a pin dropped, like I just announced something like mind-blowing to them. Before I was thinking maybe like a physicist, perhaps like criminology or something with the sciences, something respectable. But everything I went on after that, I started applying for like more and more acting programs over the traditional stuff that they kind of had. My parents had to keep coaxing themselves that this was a good idea. And for a long time, they were like, okay, cool. We'll let you do this acting program thing. Go for it. But maybe you'll be like Ronald Reagan, a good actor, and then he becomes like a great politician. That's I think where you gotta be, Julius. I think that's your future. Or like maybe a priest. Who knows? Like we think you'll take that performance stuff and put it in something practical maybe later. But for now, sure, we'll humor you. I think the funniest thing was when I did get into a program after graduating, my mom sat me down one time and was like, hey, we just want to let you know, like, whatever you do in your life, like, be it with a boy, a girl, or whatever, just make it like an Asian boy or something. And I had to look at her. I'm like, oh, Mom, I'm not gay. And she's like, oh, but you're going into acting.
Oh,
And I
but
was
that's
like, no,
lovely,
no.
like that she made it very. Your mom is
Yeah.
amazing. I love
Yeah,
that.
she's wonderful.
Yeah.
But it was funny that in their mind the
Yeah.
acting is so inbreeded into one picture, and it was still kind of like it was kind of nice that they were still, I guess, biting their tongue, but still supportive of it in a
That's
good
so
way.
very sweet.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mom's Show.
Yeah.
There we go. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're off to school. What school did you choose? If you want to put that out there, if not,
Sure,
it's all
yeah.
good.
No, that's
And then
cool.
just how was that transition? Talk to me about first couple of years into it.
Yeah, I went to university for acting. It was Shakespeare acting, and this is where, funny that you use the yellow brick road to Oz. This is where I saw Oz, and then it was just a dude, and it kind of that was the big like disenfranchised moment for me. I probably won't say the name just so I don't put too much
No
stake on it,
worries.
but
No worries.
yeah, But that's where I really felt the racial difficulties really start coming in. Only Asian guy in like this 4-year program, and just yeah, man, it was not an easy time. Yeah. Yeah, I had a professor tell me to not be an actor in my first year.
Mm.
I wasn't a strong theater actor, I guess, and yeah, I just didn't feel like there was a future in it for me. My final year, we all get a big role. We're guaranteed like a good role so that we can perform on stage. I wasn't given one, and instead they gave it to like third years.
Oh my
And
gosh.
not to like not to be upset about it or anything,
Yeah.
but it was weird that when I asked the professor, he just kind of was like, "Well, it's not an issue." And then yeah, sorry, I feel like I'm airing dirty
Oh,
laundry
no
now.
worries. No, no, no.
Yeah,
I also want to be an outlet to just, hey, they're not going to know or whatever,
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
So sometimes we also, I think, have to confront these things. To me,
yeah.
well, if you don't, it's all good. But to me, it makes it I turn that all into motivation, you
Thanks,
know,
man. Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm sure. Was there any issues? So like, let's talk about it like structurally.
Sure. Yeah.
Structurally, you know, like, were you having problems like memorization? Like, do you think there's anything that they could hang their hat on and why they didn't do this, that, and the third? Like, what was acting school like in turning it into, where you have to, there's the different techniques. What
Yeah.
was that like for you? Did it like, because in certain aspects, when you get professionally trained, it takes away from that creativity. You're not free
Yeah.
flowing, as you sometimes need to do. Like,
I
what was that technical aspect of the craft for you? And maybe that,
yeah.
okay, Julius, you're not getting this, or I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I think it's the structure of just how there's an unspoken hierarchy of who's the strongest actor in the classroom. And then to a professor who is, got a specific view of how a role or how an audition should be done or how a piece should be done, that there are these unrealistic standards that you kind of have to reach. And I guess the technique wise, it's just like, well, how do you reach this if but this guy's expecting you to do even better, or what is subjectively good or bad, and then from this professor's feedback, does that dock you in this hierarchy, and then now you're having pressure of, oh, I need to perform well to prove to a hierarchy rather than for your own craft.
mm,
Yeah, it's a sad experience, but like you said, motivation, it really motivated me to keep pursuing it my own way. And I think that's what it was. It's sometimes you go against the grain, you realize, oh, this actually doesn't work for me. Okay. And then I guess you kind of bounce away from it or you bounce off of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So you're in there, you may not be getting like work,
Yeah.
as they had promised, right?
Yeah.
You're in a different generation of actors. Being the older guy here right now, right? I was I was one of those kids in high school taking the family home camcorder, making
Mm,
movies with my friends.
nice.
And then I'm sure a lot of other film friends, when they went off to university, I went into the military.
Oh,
So
wow.
my acting kind of stopped there. Although once I was in the military and once I found my way about me, I went and bought a camcorder, and I have films all over the country, well, the world, from that experience. And that's a whole
Nice.
nother thing. Most I can't show because it got a little crazy. But anyway, did you do that in the same? Because it's a different time period. Were you studying your craft a day and then maybe hanging with other film friends, actor friends, and doing your own material to just, you might not have saw that or had that opportunity while in class, that
Yeah.
you maybe created something for yourself with other friends just to get this muscle. When it's I don't know about you, but like when it's my passion, I eat, sleep, drink. Here's one aspect of work, but then I'm
Yeah.
doing it in my own time. I'm curious if that
Yeah.
was for you or anything like that.
I really love that you posed that question because now I think about it. In a weird way, I was where by daytime I'm doing theater acting, but it's a lot of stuff that I don't do now. I don't walk around like a creature to discover a character's motivation or something like that. I was watching cartoons. I was studying voices. I pivoted while I was in school into voice acting hard because I realized the beauty of voice acting was doesn't matter what I look like, doesn't matter how I walk or my stage presence or whatever. It's just the character. And if your voice, like I don't think I have an accent, so I was able to suddenly realize it doesn't matter. I can actually play so many beautiful characters that don't need to be human. And so I started hustling that at night. I actually would take a train back to Toronto and start taking workshops whenever I could to just keep it strong and start building connections there for voice acting, so that when I did graduate, I would already have started a voice acting career here.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Dope. I
Yeah.
dig that. And that's
Thanks.
so real. There's a harder element to that just is that I'll be real talk as
Yeah.
Asian Americans, because we don't get cast. They don't want to. They don't see the space that we can get at least voice acting gigs but which is beautiful for us, right?
Yeah.
But in the same time, it just, I don't know, it pisses me off, dude.
I'll get that.
And other Asian actor friends, we've had this kind of mutual same vibe that's the only way we can succeed and win or be seen, or at least work sometimes in certain aspects. Although I think the world is now ever changing, and now there's a lot more things happening, and it's still a beautiful way to do our craft. But there's just that ugly, dark reality to it, that it's because they don't see us in those roles as ourselves. And
man, I feel
how do you feel about that? And have that ever struck you in certain ways?
I feel that 100%, man. I think that's why university, I think, will forever stick with me, because it was a moment where I was like, you're not going to be on stage playing Shakespeare roles because all of them are for white people, or you're not going to do any of these plays because most of them are for white people. That I don't want to say trapped me, but it led me to voice acting because it was freeing. It was the only thing. But then also knowing that voice acting had a negative connotation to it too, at least back then, where my classmates kind of look at me being like, all right, voice acting, that's the thing you want to do. And I think I know what you mean, man. It was a moment of survival. It was like, I need to do this. This is like, I need to prove to my parents that I didn't just waste 4 years of my life or pursuing an acting career. This is crazy. Yeah. I think I can make this work. And then, if the film and TV don't work, if I have this is what I want to do. Like, maybe that's the immigrant mentality of like adapting, finding something that we can thrive in. It does have a dark, I guess, an undertone to it. But I also, I can see in your background, I love Marvel. I love comic books. I love animation and the graphic 2D nature and what it can do. That it transformed, I think, this compromise into something that I love. And I absolutely love voicing cartoon characters and all that.
Agreed. No, I'm totally with it. And I don't want to, but I don't want to knock it at all.
No, please. No.
I think it's the most, it's super awesome, because also you get like on a certain property and there's merch and all kind of stuff going on. And like, you can see, hey, that character is me, you're on Bakugan, dude. You're on,
oh, by the way, bro, I got this, or the fans will be mad. It's Bakugan.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I'm showing how much of a non-weeb I am.
No worries, man. It's just the fans will be like, why is he not correcting him?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. I get it all the time. And I write and produce, pop culture projects. I'm a comic book writer. I've been
amazing.
And hey, man, I grew up on Americans' comic book lore, because to be real, when anime and manga were on the scene, I actually, here's another deep-seated Asian thing too, right?
Yeah.
I'll be real, like, they're coming out with it, like the early Akira, Ghost in the Shell stuff. Oh yeah, love that. Yeah. But then, like, here comes Street Fighter, one of the most amazing Capcom fighting games. Mm-hmm. But then, like, they did the movie with it, but they turned like a lot of the characters white, and it just felt like like with Dragon Ball, like the guy had to power up, but he had to become whiter in a way. Okay, he's an alien, whatever, but to me, I don't know, that there's like a thing as an Asian American that bothered me about all that.
I get that. Yeah.
So that's a whole nother story. We can talk on like, those stereotypes and those things that we get as Asians.
Yeah.
I can talk all day on that stuff, but Yeah, so
Dude, I love talking about this stuff all day too. It's fascinating, right? It's like a Rubik's cube of racism and cultural identity, and you're just like, man, I want to keep figuring this out. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I get
And
it.
I think all of us that are in this creative struggle and trying to create better representation for us
Yeah.
all, that
Yeah.
it's so important that we also talk about it. And
Yeah.
then also, show that those reality of those earlier images weren't very cool, and
No. Yeah.
now that we're getting it right, that's cool. But just gotta let you know about this, that yeah,
Yeah.
it offended me at that point. You may not have known that, but it's not cool. And then if you continue that on,
Yeah.
it'd be bad if I didn't say something. So
Makes sense, man.
I
Yeah.
got sidetracked, but
Man, you
I love
passionate. I love it.
animation. I love that you're in
Bakugan.
Bakugan. Sorry guys.
Dude, it's not a
Bakugan.
real word, so no pressure, bro. I get it.
So Bakugan and
Yeah.
Paw Patrol. I think
Yeah.
that's amazing. I love that.
Thanks.
You're in school. All right. I was trying to get into my rhythm. We're taking classes.
Yeah.
F those professors at university.
Yeah.
I know I can do it. I'm Julius Cho. I'm gonna
Yeah.
pave my way.
Yeah.
What do you think are some of the most important lessons you learned along that process? And then we'll lead into getting management, going for those
Sure.
goals, getting
Yeah.
hit up to do some amazing gigs like Bakugan.
Nice, man. Nice. I would say the biggest one was resilience, was like facing this feeling of that outsider like I did in high school, but feeling really crappy about it, but actually then using it as, I guess, an armor or a motivation to keep going. That was a big thing. The university did teach me, like stage techniques and stuff, which is great, but I think it was taking what you need in whatever you go through, like take it with a grain of salt, or take what's effective for you, leave the rest. And if there are red flags, walk away from it. Those are the big pillars of what's helped me. I think even with my film performances, just be genuine and take away any smarmy or fakeness to anything I do, where I just try and sound as genuine as I can, because it's just trying to be as honest. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we learned these lessons. Tell me now, pursuing it
Yeah.
as a career,
Sure.
getting management, getting those headshots. What was that like for you? And I know and this also
Yeah.
goes into us being as Asian Americans, the
Yeah.
type of headshots we get,
Oh
the
my God.
looks, the different looks that they want,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that and how you felt with that whole process. And
Okay, if we want to talk headshots, I was not a fan of headshots for the longest time, bro. Like, like as Asian people are like, oh man, are my eyes like big enough in this? Are my cheeks too huge? Like, I'm freaking out. I actually had a photographer one time said, oh, if you squint more, you look cooler. And it was an Asian dude, but when he did it, I was like, nah, that don't look good at all. Okay, I'm gonna not do that. And it was just like, it was feeling objectified in a scary way. And management, my first manager wasn't that great either, because I don't think knew how to deal with an Asian dude besides, oh, Asian role, here you go, kind of thing. Versus like, I really champion open ethnicity auditions, because let's bring in our interpretation of who this character can be. It doesn't have to be this Asian dude or something. I'm down with that, but I like kind of like, hey, have you thought of us as a potential for this character? It was hard. I'm not gonna lie. It only took this pandemic to actually really give me the, I think, confidence to be like, look, I'm a creator now. I've been here. I don't want to just go for Asian roles that are so small. I think we deserve bigger as Asian artists. We deserve to go for something that we're good at. We know we're good at this. So yeah, it was a harrowing time, man. It was learning, because once you go out of university, there's no grading system. It's just, did you book it or not, kind of thing. Yeah.
And more no's than yeses,
Yeah.
You got to get used to that. And then also, how do we still live? I don't know if you went back home or if you had like a little you know,
Yeah.
amount of money that you saved up, or if you're working
Yeah.
side hustles and gigs to facilitate that. Talk to me about that hunger until you, like, you know, got your first gig. I think it was 2017.
Yeah.
Doki,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
take
Doki.
me to like landing those first batch of gigs.
Oh man, I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep. Like I would get one audition and I would kind of like I don't even know, man. I would just study it like crazy. I would pull an Asian, hardcore Asian like cram sesh into thinking every angle and be like, how do I do this? How do I perfect this? And obviously get the no because, you know, I'm so tense, I'm so freaking out. I'm like, I need this. That of
You
course
overthought it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then when I finally got it, I was like, okay, this means something. This means I matter. And it's a, you know, it's a kid's cartoon, so you're just kind of like, all right, that's great. But it, I think it took me a little while to realize these gigs don't validate or don't aren't aren't a good alternative for genuine self-worth or
Agreed.
knowing your own self-esteem. And so those first few gigs were kind of nerve-wracking, man, because I'm like, okay, I got this one. Is this the only one I'm ever gonna have, or is this like, will this lead to bigger and better things? Oh no, I'm overthinking this, and it's yeah, it was like I said, it was a roller coaster of just emotions and just trying to see if this was still a feasible idea, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah,
What it would when you when those first projects came out and you were able to see those performances,
yeah.
did you hated it, or did you like, okay, did it help you at all? How was that?
Ah, man, I think I hated a lot of my own performances, you know?
Same.
Like, right? The
I don't
critique.
even I haven't watched half of the stuff I've done too, to be honest, as well.
Oh man, you
But I've been in
should.
20 plus
Yeah.
years, dude. So
Oh, that's true. Okay, yeah. Hey, that'd be a cool week of all this like beautiful stuff that you've done, and then you would be like, oh, wow, okay, where was I, like
yeah, what was I
personally?
thinking? Or I don't know. Oh, yeah, no. It's hard. It's hard. It's
No, it
hard.
definitely is. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've only recently grown to love watching myself. Not egotistically, but actually be like, cool. I fit in this universe, or I like this. All right, great. Like it takes a while. It's the same as like, you know, when you record yourself and you hear
Yeah.
your own voice and you're like, oh no, no, no. But now it's like, no, I love my voice. I love seeing myself on screen and stuff like that.
I'll definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Especially now that I've kind of transitioned from the acting. Well, although I'm back into the acting, let me not say that,
Mm.
because when pandemic started, I started jumping back into it again. But like my struggle, mirroring yours in a way,
Yeah.
like, you know, was going out for auditions, acting quite a bit here and there. But then again, those typecasts. Oh, that reminds me of the one question I wanted to ask you, which I
Yeah,
will
go
get to
for
in
it.
just a second. Just hitting those blocks, and then I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm a writer. I know how to run camera. I know how to do this, that, and the third. Let me jump behind. Let me get on the other side of things, because also it was slowing down. They didn't want to cast me, and so I want to. I love this industry. I'm gonna find another way to stay in this industry, right? And then,
Nice.
if anything, I will write my own shit. I will produce my own shit
Yeah,
to then
man.
get behind the camera and create that role for myself. You know, if they're
Mm-hmm.
not gonna give it to me, I'm gonna make it that opportunity for me and my people. So, um that leads me to the question of what that earlier a second, like that I remembered. Okay, you're voice acting, right? One
Yeah.
of my first voice acting gigs, I'll never forget it. Um, it was for like this public television online spot, for like health or whatever. I first got cast as a model,
Nice. Okay.
as
Yeah.
the Latin model, for this
Yeah.
one side of things, and then I then got a call that, hey, we want you to be the voiceover for the Asian model that we did. Okay, I'll do it. And then
That's
got
range, man. That's acting range, you
right.
know?
I'm not good enough for the voice of the Latin guy, but
No. Yeah.
I'm good for the Asian voice. Okay, I'll do it. Then I get to the studio, my friend,
Hmm.
and start going through the lines, and then he's like, can you sound more Asian? I shit you not, bro. I shit you not.
Yeah.
And it was like Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat. Like I felt my soul
Oh
just get
no.
pulled up out of me, dude. I
Yeah.
didn't know what to do. Um, it hurt, but I don't know what I did. I think what I ended up doing was slowing my pace down, slowing my
Mm.
delivery down,
Hmm.
and giving somewhat something that was what the stereotypical bullshit,
Yeah.
that's out there. But that was one of the moments that led me to like Never Again, and where I started jumping behind the camera.
I
Did
see.
you ever
Yeah.
experience anything like that? Have you ever experienced like racism on set, or you get booked for a gig and then all of a sudden, hey, can you sound more Asian? You know what? That's funny. That I just remembered that Easter Sunday, Joe Coy, and
Yeah.
and it was perfectly captured there, which made me the one thing I liked about Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
Joe Coy, if you've seen that film, he's on set and they asked him to sound more Filipino, and that was the
Mm.
same kind of similar thing with me.
Mm.
Um, being asked to sound more Asian.
Yeah. I I fortunately, well, my issue was like I needed voice acting to be so successful because theater acting wasn't working. I had used racism as an armor or as a protection, or to make them laugh about me being Asian to protect myself. And this is way before Black Lives Matter and before like everybody realized that this was not okay. That I kind of went with it for a bit. That I would actually even offer them with the accent. And it was only until recently I've realized like, oh, I'm not gonna do that anymore. This is not necessary. This doesn't actually help the character. This is just making fun of something that is not funny. And yeah, I it's kind of been an evolution for myself. I don't
Yeah.
think I've had directors ask me to give the essence of an accent,
Yeah.
and like if I say, like I did a samurai scorpion sandwich called Sammy Rye for a cartoon, and I had come in with like, he's a samurai, so I'll give him a Japanese accent, and they were like, no, we want like the essence, but no real accent, please. And every time I maybe slipped, these guys would be like, no, that's not. So in a weird way, I had the reverse of like, don't give us the Asian,
Yeah.
because
Oh,
I'm
that's
noticing
good.
now, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
noticing now people are trying to like nix that unless it's authentically
Yeah.
um appropriate. Yeah,
That's wonderful. That's great to
yeah,
hear. Yeah,
yeah,
my story is early 2000s,
yeah.
is when that experience happened. But yeah, and you hear different stories, and
No,
it's
yeah,
also kind of difficult in a way because again, like it's hard for us to get gigs, and sometimes like we weigh whether or not to do
yeah,
certain things. And I think also I love comedy, and I think one of the bad things about, as well as changing culture, it's really hitting comedy in a different way,
oh yeah,
and we should be able to laugh at ourselves. But then I don't know, but I think it's okay when it's like written by us, it's us
yeah,
delivering the material. But it's one thing when it's another culture, and
yeah.
yeah, just some of those battles. But let's move on. I don't want to get too into the weeds with that. I can talk all day. Like you said,
Please,
we'll
man,
maybe
yeah,
have to have some sidebar
we
conversations.
will, yeah.
This is why I have, and actually I would love to invite you to this. So I'm gonna promote this because I plan to do more of these next year, y'all. For those watching NRW right now, the amazing Julius Cho right now. Y'all know I do Totally Awesome Asians is a panel I run at various conventions up and down the East Coast. If you ever come through, Julius, or if I ever head up to the Great North, I'd love to have you on the Totally
Yeah,
Awesome
man,
Asians panel where we just
yeah.
talk about representation within pop culture.
Please,
It's
yeah,
so
I would love
important.
to. Yeah,
So
dude.
I'm gonna promote that, and then hopefully in 2023 I can get Julius on one of those panels.
Yeah, man.
Um, let's
Dude,
go.
I'll definitely even come down for it because it's like what? It's a work trip. I'm
There
down.
we go. All right, I know some showrunners.
There you
I know
go.
they like Bakugan. I'm trying. We'll
Well,
make
you
that
almost said
happen.
another word that is not not related to that at all.
All right,
Bakugan, my bro.
Bakugan. I'm gonna try and get it right a couple times in here.
It's fine. It's fine. I love that,
This
man.
will go viral on that.
I love it.
So yes, you are a Totally Awesome Asian, Julius.
Thanks,
So
man.
we're rocking. We're in there. Where we did those first couple of gigs. Let's just talk about some projects that came through. Tell me about just let's highlight some that you've enjoyed. You've been doing a lot this past year, and
Yeah,
having I guess a reoccurring with Children Ruin Everything.
I am.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about how this year has been. Um, and,
Yeah.
and with different projects. I think wedding season as well.
Yeah, dude, this has been the best year of my acting career and of my life, to be honest. It's been wonderful. So wedding season, I think, is like the biggest thing. It's a Netflix movie. It was like in the top 10 films in the country and the world for like a while, and it was great. I played a guy named Yoshi, blue hair, beanie, and I got to hang out with Suraj Sharma, who is the guy from Ang Lee's film. So my dad was suddenly like, "Oh my goodness, my son's like a legitimate actor." Life of Pi, Ang Lee, my dad suddenly was like, "Can I come on set and hang out with you?" And I was like, "No, you will steal the show. I do not trust you, good sir." And from then on, like I was able to start doing more cartoons, more film and TV, and I'm just like, yeah, I've been working nonstop, and it's been great. It's been kind of cool that all these years of working hard, it just came to they actually like who you are and who you genuinely are, man. So you don't need to put on an accent. You don't need to pretend or boast yourself or change yourself.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, man.
Congrats to you, bro.
Thanks,
That's
dude.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's the spirit we need. So, have there been a lot of a few live action roles here, but then also voice acting? Is there one you like over the other? And now that we are in pandemic times,
Yeah.
I did a couple Netflix films. I love how their COVID protocols was because I've been
Oh yeah.
very careful with this pandemic. I actually had some family and friends that passed,
Oh, I'm
so
so
it's
sorry.
just always been like on the forefront of taking care of things.
Yeah.
But it changed us as a craft and as an acting community. What has that like been for you as well? I think I threw a ton of questions right there. I'm
That's
sorry.
fine. No, dude, it's cool. Well, COVID has changed everything. We've started doing self tape, so I have all this gear. I do all my gigs, my voice gigs at home because I have the equipment, and everybody's as safe as they can on set. We still have like people who might get the crew infected and stuff, but everybody's so responsible. And yeah, I still wear a mask to most like social gatherings because I'm just like, we have a responsibility as performers not to get our peers or cast and crew sick. And I kind of like it. I kind of really appreciate that everybody's trying to protect each other. Yeah. It's a scary world, man. Everybody can get sick like in an instant. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. So, oh, I know because I threw a bunch at you. Voice acting, being at home, comfort of your home. I
Yeah.
will say, I'm sorry. Go. Let me pull it back a little bit before that. Before like we get either that live action
Yeah.
gig or that voice acting gig. How good, wonderful is it though to just like do self tapes at home instead of worrying about going to the studio and wait in traffic?
Oh, bro, it's the best. It's the
Right?
best. It's the
It
best.
needs to stay like this.
Yeah, 100%. It doesn't need like the fact that I can wake up in my PJs, go and voice like a cartoon, and then like go back to bed is the best. I can't ask for anything different. Yeah,
Hell yeah. Like at
but
least
I
the
think
initial,
yeah,
self tape. And then okay, we get a call back, then maybe I'll go into the studio,
yeah,
But I just love to
yeah.
work from home. All right, Julius, thank you for those answers. Live action or voiceover acting, being at home where we can just chill in bed. I appreciate that. So we're heading now. It's the end of the year,
Yeah.
2022. I know you wrapped well you recently put together Children Ruin Everything. I think that was season 1. I think I was looking, there's possibilities of a season 2. I don't know where your character sits in that, but as I think I told you before we got started, I checked out the demo reel. You were hilarious in that piece. I
Thanks,
saw
man.
as John Luke, as Astrid walked in. So tell me how that's going. Will we see that? I am seeing that there's Paw Patrol Super Rescue as
Hmm.
Lionel Lightspeed coming, as well as In the Heat. Tell me leading into 2022 and what else we can see the amazing Julius Cho in.
Well, so Children and Everything, we're in season 2 right now.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, and for American viewers, you'll see it soon next year on Roku. Yeah, basically he's kind of this incompetent dude who's her boss, and we'll kind of see what hijinks they have to go through as she has to kind of take care of both her own family and her babies at work. Yeah, Paw Patrol Super Rescue. I'm actually, to be honest, I have no idea what that is, bro. I think somebody added me on IMDb on that. It
Oh,
potentially could be Super Ready Set Rescue, which is the Paw Patrol feature that I'm in,
okay.
and they're just like rebranding it potentially. I honestly have no idea, man.
Hey, as long
But
as they get the check and we get some more roles.
I guess so. Bro, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Sometimes, when IMDb you see something, you're like, all right, cool. I'll take it.
Yeah, that
Um,
is true because
yeah,
people can manipulate, like kind of like Wikipedia. You can't trust everything on
it's
there.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I could have lied and fabricated the whole
Hey, maybe
thing.
that would be the gateway for us to like find the secret
Yo,
sauce with like
bro,
roles, right?
let's
Like, oh,
do
he's
it.
booked for this, that, and the third. Oh, he
And
must
you're
be
like,
hot. Let me get him on my project.
yeah, okay, okay. We'll talk
Manipulate the
more. We'll
system.
talk
Why
more
not?
later. Yeah,
There's a lot of
that's a
people
good
that are
plan.
doing that already.
Yeah, that's true. Uh, and then In the Heat is an animated. It's part of an animated anthology series of horror stories, and I don't really want to talk too much about it, except it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. I got to work with some really talented people we have here in Canada who are doing like adult animation, and I'm really happy.
Oh,
That's
hell
the
yeah.
realm I love, man. Yeah. Also Asian creators, so I was like, yes,
Oh,
yeah,
love it. Let's
yeah,
go. So
yeah,
he'll know
yeah.
like how he knows how we speak in our voice in like
Yep.
how we would carry ourselves, not the
I
stereotype.
He was actually the first guy. I was like, "Yo, can I put some Cantonese on this dude?" And he was like, "Yeah, let's go." So we'll see. I don't know if
Yeah.
post we'll see it, but yeah,
Props.
he's
Well,
a
when
great
you can
guy.
talk more about that, I'd love to have you back to promote
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
highlight
man,
that, and show love, man. I'm
for
I'm always
sure.
about
Yeah,
giving my people flowers, especially when you've come
yeah.
through here. Well, once you're on, now you're part of my family, man. So
Thanks,
I
bro.
definitely want to give back and check in, as it
Appreciate it.
were. All
Nice,
right,
man.
dude.
Yeah.
Last question.
Let's go.
How I like to close it out. This channel's Nerds Rule the World, NRW, and we celebrate our nerddom. And
Nice.
you are definitely a nerd with your Digimon, your Pokemon cards, and there's
Yup.
nothing wrong with that. We're changing
Nope.
the negative stereotypes about that. So what I'd like to end with is if is I want to hear something nerdy that you're all about that you could probably
Oh,
like give a TED talk on, and it
oh,
doesn't have to
bro.
be the quote unquote traditional pop
Easy.
culture nerd stuff. You
No,
could
no,
be
easy. I got you. Yeah.
nerdy about tax law, which is what I think my boy
Oh.
Lee Shorten, who is also one of Ashley's uh, clients. I don't know if you know Lee as well.
No, no, yeah,
Great guy,
yeah.
but he was a former lawyer in some other life, and so he could I think talk all about tax law. I had another
Cool.
guy nerdy about politics. What is something you're super nerdy about that a lot of people don't know about that like maybe you recently got into?
Oh,
And
yeah.
it can't be anything that we already know. It has to be something different. Because I already know
Well,
you're nerdy
okay.
about Pokemon. I
Okay,
want
yeah.
something good.
So I am right now part of a small group of guys who play a Song of Ice and Fire tabletop. You have no idea what that is, and that is how nerdy I know, man. So it's Game of Thrones tabletop miniatures that you just battle each other from different houses. I'm House Martell. I love it, bro. I'm hanging out with like a director of mine, and we don't talk about work. We don't talk about we just talk about the game. We have been hanging out, I think, every week for like 4 or 5 months, and all we do is just play this game and then talk about strategy and then talk about what we could have done better and then planning the next time we play this game. It is 6 hours every time, and I come home charged and I don't sleep because I just want to figure out how to play better or like what army units to bring and stuff. This is like like Warhammer stuff.
Oh,
This is
the
yeah.
look you saw is not one of like being blown away, but I love it. And
Good.
the fact that you're the second person in a row
What?
that is about miniatures and tabletop gaming.
Oh, okay.
The last person I had on is all about customizing painting.
Oh yeah, I paint
Yeah.
too. I paint them as well. Yeah, it's fun,
See?
bro. Yo.
So I would have to. It would be fun to introduce the two of you guys.
Yeah, please.
Actually, no, I think she was a female. Yeah, it was a female. Well,
What?
female calling. Yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
and that was really cool to see, you know. So amazing. I love
Yeah,
it.
man.
There we
Yeah.
go.
There you
Everybody,
go.
Julius Cho. I will have all of his links in the description below. Please go check him out. Give him all the follows, all the subscribes. I literally just did it right before this. So I'm going to support my man.
Thanks, man.
Julius, for those that might be listening to this interview while on their commute, because I have that happen a lot, you know, they like to peep it while they're, you know, doing that to just pass the time.
Right.
For those that have those kind of memories where they can remember it, if you can close out with, you know, how people can check you out and all of your socials or whatever you'd like to pass along.
Yeah, you can find me basically only on Instagram at Cho Julius Cho. I'm on Facebook and Twitter as well, but I don't really use those that much. So Instagram's the one to go. So that's at Cho Julius Cho.
There you go, y'all. Check him out. Give him some love. Follow, subscribe, all of that. It's been so much fun, Julius. I can't wait to have
likewise.
you back as these other projects happen, and as you continue to go along with your career and what you do. Hopefully, we can find ourselves on the same set one day as well.
Yes,
a lot of
please.
Fun.
Yo, let's do it. Let's become like a buddy cop thing. You and me,
we're
detectives or something. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, it's all about creating opportunities for me now, and when I meet amazing folks within the industry like yourself, it's like, man, I can't wait to find that project to do with that person, because I see the talent, I see the drive, I see the passion, and when you share that, you want to work with good people. So it's a pleasure talking to you, Julius.
Thanks, dude.
Definitely, y'all. Hey, it's boy Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World, the NRW. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Hive, IG at the Legend Kuya P, and of course this is the NRW. Follow us at the NRW and at Release Wednesday, where nerds rule the world, and Julius is one of those cats. Nerds rule the world, y'all. We're out of here.